I'm going to share the 5 common mistakes that people make on their twin flame journey and what to do about it. So be sure to stay here till the end, because that's how you're going to know what you might be able to do to create a different outcome, because your twin flame is your mirror, but it's not your identical mirror, it's your complement. So you might have a messy room and your twin flame might have messy finances. That is just a really ridiculous example, but it's the same energy. So you may not see your twin flame. For instance, a lot of people will say, oh, well, I love my twin flame. Why aren't they showing me the love that I know that I feel, right? It's because they are your complement, and it's not their job to show up to love you. It's your job to do that. And so here are the common mistakes that people make so that you can start to heal and number 1, like heal and feel great and have a wonderful life. And 2, magnetize your union in a natural, organic way, right? Okay, so number 1 is looking outside yourself for love. So this might even be a codependent pattern that you've had for a very long time. This is what I experienced in my union. So it's important to have compassion with yourself if you happen to recognize this as a pattern. And how you're going to recognize this as a pattern is it likely will come up in your healing, in your feelings, and in your emotions. So if you don't resonate with this now, that is fine. But just remember that looking outside yourself might be like, okay, hoping that your twin flame will like a post, hoping that he'll call you or she will call you, and expecting them to show up for you, right? The same thing could be said of like wanting validation from social media, from your boss, from your job, like feeling like, oh, well, I'm this and such person, and so that makes me feel important and special. Well, sure, but it's about making sure you recognize that your humanness, right, your authentic self, that you're really loving that part of you, not just like the title and who you've become and how much money you make, right? These external things. So that kind of validate who we are. So even if you are making a lot of money, you're making sure that you're really loving that genuine self for who you are. Okay, number 2 is seeing your twin flame as your source, right? So you're kind of waiting for your twin flame, or maybe you're really wanting, just that validation to come from them saying, hey, I love you, babe, you know? So maybe putting them on a pedestal, not feeling like you're worthy enough to be with them. But remember, you are your twin flame, and you are created divine and worthy for your perfect complement, right? Wouldn't that always be true? So there might be something in the way, right? A block, what we call that, in the way of you actually believing that you're worthy of true love, right? And maybe you feel really worthy of it, but it hasn't shown up yet, right? So it's still about working through the feelings that you feel if they're not there, or if they're breadcrumbing, or maybe they're not, communicating enough. Maybe they're have another partner, right? And yeah, so just looking at your situation, what is your twin flame actually showing you? Are you putting them on a pedestal and thinking that you're not worthy to be with them? So that's really important, is healing any of the blocks of unworthiness, because that's a common block in twin flame union, even though you're created as one at the very beginning, right? Okay, so number 3 is ignoring how people treat you. So, and sometimes these can be people who have been very close to you for a long time. Maybe it's a friend who just always talks and talks and talks, but just never slows down to hear what you have to say. So just really recognizing how people are treating you and how it makes you feel, right? Because sometimes we have these really wonderful relationships, and then sometimes we sort of put up with the bare minimum with people because of who they are in our lives. And sometimes that could be a boss or somebody who is close with us in our lives for a particular reason. And really recognizing that they're showing you something for you to kind of look at. And you can either set boundaries, you can heal through it. And if they're not really willing to atone or change, then you might need to have a bigger boundary. And what are your blocks to setting those boundaries, right? Because anybody who treats you poorly, number one, it's important to be able to recognize what people are showing you. And number two, it's important to listen to how you feel. And this is something that I had to heal through. I was very numb when I got on this journey because I just had a very challenging family dynamic. And so I learned to ignore my intuition. And now I really listen. I listen to what people show me, and I set boundaries, or I bring them closer if it feels like a good friend. Like making sure that I'm honoring this like mutual connection, right? Okay, number 4 is ignoring negative self-talk. Now, this is something that I had suppressed and tuned out. I tend to put a lot of pressure on myself. I'm very perfectionistic. You might have some other characteristics that that are still in that negative component, right? So sometimes I see this because, twin flames, right now, the people who are coming together, who are recognizing their unions, they're usually like rock stars, like people who have really done their best with what they've had and what they could create, and have probably already healed a lot on the journey in their own lives to even get to the twin flame journey, right? So sometimes these negative self-talk could be suppressed. So if you have someone in your life who's being negative, like this was shared in step 3, it's really important to acknowledge what people are showing you, and then start to feel and be more present with yourself, so that if any negative self-talk surfaces, you can address it right away and start to shift that dialogue to a supportive one, a compassionate one, right? So if you're hard on yourself, right, there may be a particular reason, like maybe you just really need to go get that job, maybe you need to quit smoking or drinking or doing these particular things, but it's loving yourself where you are that actually helps you move through those challenges, as opposed to making yourself feel worse about a particular experience or choice that you've made, right? So I'm sure that you can think of lots of examples, but that's the idea, is really getting rid of the negative self-talk and replacing it with supportive self-talk. Okay, number 5 is being willing to change. This is something that we see a lot, is that people are not willing to change. Like they get frustrated because their twin flame won't change, but then they're not willing to change. And so that is a reflection, right? So if your twin flame is showing you that they're not changing, they don't want to change, it's really about looking at yourself and where you feel stuck in not allowing yourself to grow. And that could be spiritually, could be emotionally, could be professionally, right? Like maybe you have something on your heart that you've really wanted to do, but it's a complete career shift, and it would like totally change your entire life, right? Like that is something to take pause and to be honest with yourself about what that looks like, what that it would entail. Like I remember recognizing that I didn't have the career that I wanted, and I didn't necessarily want to change from being a dance teacher, but I looked at being a chiropractor, and I looked at where I was in my life, and I looked at all the things it took to become a chiropractor, and the kind of chiropractor I wanted to be needed extra training too. And there wasn't even a chiropractic school in my state. And I would have to leave my daughter with my ex. I was like, no, 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 no. This is not the path. There's just too many barriers. And I became a personal trainer. And that was an amazing fit for me for a good 5 years, really loved it. And that kind of brought me onto the twin flame journey. So by following my life path, I met my twin flame. And so yeah, and if I had become a chiropractor and like worked through all those, maybe I would have met him at the same time. But like, who knows? Who knows really? But when you really look at your life, it's not about having to go through all these huge challenges and changes, but it's looking at where you are and following your heart based on all the information you have now. So you don't actually have to change. Your union will love you regardless, right? Your twin flame union is sacred and holy, and you're created as one. However, your twin flame will show you anywhere you're looking to them for validation and love instead of having a whole life, right? Your twin flame is there to help you find wholeness. That is literally their job, is to help you find wholeness. So if you're not feeling whole, and it's nothing like a twin flame typically will come in and it'll help all of the things that feel out of alignment with love will surface. So even if you felt whole before you met them, you may have places surface where you don't feel whole, where you feel lonely, where you feel all kinds of things, right? And that is surfacing so that you can clear it and actually feel the truth of the wholeness that you are. Because two wholes is actually a very balanced relationship. Your beloved is like your other half, and you get to fly like a bird. But if one twin flame is like falling and can't fly, then how are you going to fly together? It'd be like one pulling the other up or vice versa. And so you want your twin flame to be able to support themselves. You want to be able to support yourself, and then together you rise like super high and can create a wonderful grounded life together. And so that's what this journey is about. So it's not about changing because you need to change who you are. It's about kind of a returning to that authentic self that you actually are, and recognizing when you're guided to make a big change. Like you don't, like there's no force or no like pushing through. It's really about leaning in, learning, feeling, discovering all of those things so that you can develop and like create an amazing foundation for your life when you've got all your needs met, when your finances are in order, when your schedule is in order, when your career starts to stabilize, right? That's when you can really enjoy a relationship, right? Because you're not like busy creating your foundation, right? It's really hard to build a foundation in life and a union, because the union will show you anything that is out of alignment. And yes, you'll heal faster together, but if you don't have a foundation, how are you, and you don't know how to heal, like that's why sometimes unions can be very rocky. So if you want a different result, it's about grounding and healing into the life that will really bring balance and harmony to you, so that when your twin flame comes into your life, that you really have a balanced life together. And so, yeah, those are the 5 mistakes that people make. And you could be doing one or all of them or a combination. But remember, it's important to have compassion, because your natural state is the harmony of your union. So if you're feeling that love, you're feeling that harmony, that is the truth, right? That's absolutely the truth. But it's about healing into all the things that keep you from feeling super aligned to the life that you want.